Hi, my name is Amy, and I am a personal development alchemist. I help you to grow from where you are now into your highest potential. Today, we're going to talk about overthinking, um, over analysis, kind of, that anxiety that we get in our minds, and why, and how do we stop it? Overthinking and overanalysis is really about the fact that you have the answer, but you don't want to accept the answer. So we have the truth, and then we start re-evaluating the situation, replaying the conversations, rethinking like, well, maybe if I do it this way, or if this happens, or what if this, or what if this. And it's all about not wanting to accept the reality of the situation. But why don't we want to accept the reality of the situation? Like, why not just accept it and move on and continue on life? Because that would mean that we have to take accountability about the truth. That means that we need to step in our own leadership in regards to that accountability and that truth. For instance, let's say you're dating someone or you have a family connection with someone, because overthinking and overanalysis really causes like a paralysis within the self, right? It causes a freeze, and then that's a form of self-sabotage, which I talked about on a previous video, and you can go check that one out also. But overanalysis is basically when you like, if you're let's say you're with your partner and your partner says something to you like, I love you. For the first time they say that to you, right? And you should be like, oh, that makes me feel so happy and wonderful and great inside. But instead your brain is like, that's a lie. Do they really love you? Are you lovable? Are you worthy of their love? Do you believe that you are deserving of their love? So when we then use our minds to overanalyze the words or the communication in regards to the way that they made us feel. So what we're doing is we're bringing up the matters of the subconscious programming, our belief system about ourselves and what we're worthy of. And then that is what creates the overanalysis or the overthinking, is because if we truly believed that we are worthy and deserving of that love, we would just feel in our heart space. We wouldn't overthink at all, to be honest, right? This is something that is very, very common because we have been taught and conditioned not to trust our own emotions, and we don't express our emotions accurately because we've been conditioned to people please. So when you express something, it almost makes you think, are you truly expressing your true authentic truth, or are you saying things to make others like you or what you think that they will be pleased from? If you're a people pleaser through your words, you will automatically overthink when other people say their truth because you don't say your truth. So it triggers something within you, and it shows you like, so then you start to go back and forth. You're like, I don't really know how they feel about me, although they just told me they love me. So I should know how they feel about me because they just told me. But in our brain, as a people pleaser, we're like, well, they said that, and I would say that too if I felt it, or I would say it to please the situation, please the occurrence. So A lot of times when we overanalyze, it's because we use our communication in manipulation of others. And that's typically due to a trauma response. That's a way to keep ourselves safe. And you don't have to feel bad for it. Just acknowledge it when it happens and you notice it and say, this is not the truth of the situation. This, what they said to me, I have to be able to trust that fully, right? And that's where, when you overanalyze, you then are programming your mind to be in that same behavioral pattern of not trusting. And the not trusting is what leads to the self-sabotage and the repeated cycles of trauma. So then the question becomes not why are you overanalyzing, but why don't you trust what you know? Because if someone says, I love you, and there's no other behaviors, like there's no history of lies, there's no whatever, right? There's no history or there's no proof to say, like, I really shouldn't trust this person. If this is just someone that you're in a partnership with or you're growing a partnership with and they say that they love you, why wouldn't you trust it? Why would you analyze it at all? That's the unhealthy behavior, is the fact that you are not trusting other people's truths because you don't yourself share your truth fully. You might share bits and parts, but it's not fully because you don't feel valid enough to express yourself authentically and truthfully as your purest, highest form. So then when other people are not, they don't have that trauma and they are healed and they're balanced and they share their truth with you, you might be like, wow, I don't really know if I can believe that. It's something within inside of you that you don't trust yourself. You don't trust others because you don't trust self. Now, in order to overcome this, it's quite difficult, but practice makes perfect. Every time you recognize that you are overanalyzing, getting anxious about something, or creating anxiety or overthinking within your own mind, you have a couple steps of what you can do to get back on track, right? First of all, you're gonna say, is this feeling of not truth or not trusting, is it coming from in my body, like in my gut instinct, or in my heart, like a knowing, or is it coming from something in my mind that is saying you shouldn't trust this? If it's coming from the body, then that's your intuition, and run, because your body is signaling to you there's a problem. If it's coming from your mind, you're creating those thoughts yourself. So that means you are the problem, or the thoughts are the problem, right? That are creating this circumstance. Once you know if it's the mind or the heart that's sending the signal to you, you can then make a decision to move forward. So you would say, okay, it's my body that's giving me the signal, like it's in my gut instinct that I shouldn't trust this person. So then you would just be like, okay, thank you, whatever. And you would maintain your boundaries in your space, right? Your healthy boundaries, healthy space between you and that person until you feel different. And if you don't feel different, like if this has happened multiple times and your gut is just like, I just don't trust this, but it's from your physical body, it's like from deep within your soul that you know this, then just stop wasting your time and leave that person, because you are trustworthy. Your intuition is trustworthy and you can trust yourself. And the process of learning how to trust yourself is the process of learning how to trust others as well. And it's also the process of using your discernment that you naturally have and you were born with, but can get clouded through different conditioning and ways of being brought up in our childhood. So then, secondly, if you know that it's from your brain and you're just over analyzing it, you're like running it through the ringer, right? You're like putting it through again and again, and you're like, no, this must not be right, blah, blah, blah. Then you know that that is a fear-based thought and process that you are just basically redoing. It's already programmed in you. You can say, hey, wait, I do believe that this person trusts me or loves me, and I do want to trust this. So I'm not going to listen to the thoughts or the voice in my head that is causing this unwellness. Because when you get into overanalysis, it basically puts your body into a state of fight or flight. It is a safety response. And your body, you might even get panic attacks, anxiety, sweating, can't breathe. It feels like you just like need to release. I get those also. So I know exactly how it feels. It's a terrible feeling to overanalyze and overthink things. And it's even worse to know that it can be prevented if we just trust our own discernment and intuition. We have for so long been told that our truth is not the truth, that what we feel needs to be repressed, that we can't express ourselves for fear of judgment. We are full, authentic beings, and we need to express ourselves in the ways that are truthful for us, whether people agree, like it, or don't like it. Who gives a shit? There's 8 billion people on this planet. You have one life, and it's not to be lived for everyone else. You were put here to live a life that is for you. And through learning how to trust your feelings, this is how we stop this. This is how we go from over analyzing every little word or detail that someone says to us. Maybe you're at work and you're like, oh, I think my boss is angry at me because I said this and I don't think they liked it. That's too much. That's not your job. If they don't like you, they are an adult and they need to express that, right? Especially a boss. And if you don't like something and if you are unhappy about something, then you would express that, right? You would communicate that. Or would you swallow it down and just accept things as they are because you fear bringing up chaos? You fear stirring the pot. You fear people not liking you because you've conditioned yourself to be a people pleaser. It's okay. Most of us do this. And we teach children, every day we teach children, be quiet, sit there, be polite, be respectful. There's a big difference in being respectful and being polite versus people pleasing. And asking permission to live your life rather than just living and just existing as you're meant to, right? If you would like to work one-on-one with me on your overanalysis, overthinking, anxiety that may come up for you, I have a lot of history of this of myself. I also work with many different clients who have this same aspect because as we know, as we heal things within ourselves, we're able to teach others how to do the same. Let us heal, friends.